Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, Bitcoin has bounced in a big way. 15% in the span of 9 hours to be exact. This bounce came in exactly when we needed it, because as we discussed in yesterday's video, Bitcoin was getting very close to a long-term level of support as a result of a huge head and shoulders pattern that's been playing out ever since late April. That right there put us in danger of retracing all the way back down here to the 200 weekly simple moving average, sitting around $5,100 at the moment. So in today's video, we're going to be analyzing this bounce. We're going to be discussing all relevant technicals surrounding it. We're going to be discussing how the Fed is about to inject $500 billion into the economy. And we're going to be coming to a prediction about where Bitcoin should be heading from here. With all the information discussed herein, you guys should be able to go forth and make some profitable trades and have a sound understanding of the multiple paths that Bitcoin might be taking from here. So if you guys do enjoy today's video, consider liking the video. It really helps out the channel, and subscribing for more daily content. But without much further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Guys, there is something that you need to understand if you're going to be doing technical analysis on the cryptocurrency markets, and that is that longer-term trends are not invalidated by short-term trends. And this is something I saw a lot of in the comments section in yesterday's video. Because in yesterday's video, we were talking about how the head and shoulders pattern predicts $1,000 Bitcoin. I said at the intro of that video, so no one got confused, I don't think Bitcoin's going to $1,000. I don't think Bitcoin will ever go below $3,000. And in fact, the price prediction in that video was around $5,300. But a lot of people in that video saw the bounce that I predicted in yesterday's video and said, haha, Jeb, we have fooled you. Bitcoin has put a bounce in, and therefore you are big stupid. But here's the thing, guys, you need to realize, and I'm not trying to be preachy here, I'm not saying this to talk down to you, I'm saying this because this is important for technical analysis. This short-term trend, this little bounce, this little 15% bounce that we've seen here over the last 24 hours or so, that in no way invalidates a 6-month-long downtrend. And that's something that a lot of people get confused about, and I want to make sure you guys understand that. Because a short-term bounce like this, until we get above certain levels of resistance that we're going to be discussing in today's video, is actually completely irrelevant. It is simply the first step, the foundation of a new uptrend, and whether or not Bitcoin is able to sustain this is what matters. One small move like this is completely irrelevant. Bitcoin rallied 45% in a day, and that was not able to stop the downtrend. So guys, just remember, just because Bitcoin has a little bit of a bounce, right, when someone's talking about bearish technicals, does not necessarily mean that they're stupid and wrong, especially when the person said that that was a possibility. So I'm not trying to get into an argument, I'm not trying to get into a flame war, but the reason I brought that up was not to defend myself. The reason I brought that up is because that is a common problem I see in people's technical analysis, and you need to realize a short-term trend does not invalidate a long-term trend. Let me show you what I mean by that, though. Let me give you something concrete to base that off of. If we go on here to the weekly chart, we can turn on the weekly moving averages, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the 50 off. We're going to talk about that cross again here in a second, but I want you to see how not that long ago, Bitcoin right here, especially on the Coinbase chart, this wick goes a little bit lower, and right here, Bitcoin was getting support on the 100 weekly simple moving average. Now what you're going to notice is Bitcoin is getting rejected off of it. If we look at the 20 weekly exponential moving average, Bitcoin was above it. Now Bitcoin is below it. Even on the daily chart, guys, Bitcoin used to be above the 20 moving average, and it's now below the 20 exponential moving average. And in fact, that's exactly where we stopped out yesterday. You guys know how valuable the 20 EMA is. I've always said that. Bitcoin has a lot of levels of resistance that it needs to get above before this bounce that we just put in has any relevance. So that's the point of today's video. Is Bitcoin going to get above these levels of resistance that we're going to discuss? Is it going to start a new uptrend? Is this the bottom? Or is this just a bull trap and Bitcoin's going to fall back down to levels of support and potentially break them like we discussed as a potential scenario in yesterday's video? Well, guys, there are some bullish technicals here, and in fact, there's a decent amount of them. Let me show you. First and foremost, I want to show you that golden cross that I just mentioned out here on the weekly chart. We did see the 50 and the 100 cross, and I know you guys get annoyed every time I call the 50 and the 100 crossing a golden cross. Sue me. It's a golden cross. A shorter term moving average cross above a longer term moving average. This happened a little over 2 weeks ago in the early part of December, and this is bullish. In history, this has only happened a few times, and when it did happen, Bitcoin was normally pretty bullish following that. So this is still a bullish technical indicator. Furthermore, guys, if we go back down to the daily chart, we're going to see something pretty cool here, and that would be some major RSI divergence. As we can see right here, guys, we have some lower lows on the chart up here, and we have some higher lows down there on the RSI itself. That is classical bullish RSI divergence, and that does indicate a bounce in Bitcoin's price action. That does indicate a rally. especially with how long-term this is, guys. This RSI divergence has been being built for nearly a month. So if you compare how long the RSI divergence has been being built to how large of the rally that we should expect, we probably would be expecting a little bit more than just a 15% rally. So there is possibility that we rally even farther and get back up above that 20 exponential moving average I was just talking about, which is very important because if we want to start a new uptrend, we need to be above that. Furthermore, guys, as far as bullish technicals are concerned, because of what happened yesterday, Bitcoin did manage to have a bullish MACD cross. And that's definitely not something that you want to write off. When Bitcoin has a bullish MACD cross, it normally means something. Normally, it's a bullish indicator. And finally, guys, I want to bring out one more technical indicator that we haven't used on the channel in several months here, but I do think is relevant at the moment, and that would be the Heikin-Ashi candlesticks. As you guys can see, Heikin-Ashi had been bearish for 8 days with no upper wicks, indicating strong bearishness. Yesterday, we had a gigantic spinning top on the Heikin-Ashi, which doesn't happen very often, but it does indicate decision, and it does indicate a trend reversal, and that's what we saw. We saw one of those just over here in November as well, and we saw one just now, and now we're seeing a very bullish Heikin-Ashi candlestick, even though Bitcoin is a little bit down on the daily chart. That is relevant, and like I said, guys, there is potential. Like I said in yesterday's video, I talked about this. I said there is a potential that Bitcoin bounces off of that long-term uptrend for nearly a month. Bitcoin could rally quite far here and still fall back down and break that longer-term uptrend of resistance. What matters is not whether or not Bitcoin bounces. What matters is if Bitcoin is able to turn that bounce into something significant and sustainable. That's what's important. And for Bitcoin to do that, we need to go onto the weekly chart and look at resistance, because the most important level to beat right now, in my opinion, is, for two reasons, the 20 weekly exponential moving average. There's another reason why this is important I'll talk about in a second, but if you guys have been following my channel for a while, you'll know how important this moving average is. Bitcoin needs to be above this moving average for it to be considered in a bull market, in my opinion. As you can see, that's what happened back in 2015. Bitcoin got above this moving average and Bitcoin went into a bull market. When Bitcoin fell below this moving average in February 2018, that was the beginning of a new bear market, and the same thing is true here in 2019. Above it, we moved into a bull market. Below it, we've been trending to the downside. We need to get above that. But guys, it's not just because of the 20 weekly exponential moving average that I find this level sitting right around $8,500 to be so important, because if we look down on the daily chart, there is something interesting here as well. Let's go over to a dirtier chart. This is disgusting. Give me a second. Much better. Okay, as you can see on the log chart, Bitcoin has been sitting on this longer term downtrend of resistance ever since July. And one of the places that Bitcoin just garnered support was down here at that longer term downtrend of resistance. And interestingly enough, on the log chart as well, you're going to see that Bitcoin has a downtrend of resistance. And every time Bitcoin bounces, it normally rallies up to this downtrend and touches it. As you can see in the most recent rally, that did not happen. And by the way, for all of you guys saying I'm stealing this idea from Carl, I did see that concept in his thumbnail. I did not watch his videos because I never watch other analyst videos before I make my videos, because I don't want anyone to accuse me of stealing anything. So credit where credit's due. I saw Carl point this out. There is a possibility that Bitcoin rallies back up to this downtrend of resistance. And remember that 20 weekly exponential moving average I was just talking about. The reason I said that has a double meaning is because that's exactly where this downtrend of resistance is. Bitcoin needs to get above this downtrend of resistance to break this long-term trend, and Bitcoin also needs to get above this 20 weekly exponential moving average for Bitcoin to break this bear market cycle. You understand what I'm saying at the beginning of the video, guys? There's a bigger picture than a 15% move here. It's not about a small little minuscule bounce on Bitcoin. It's about whether or not that little bounce that we saw yesterday is able to grow and develop and build into something much longer term. Because in yesterday's video, we weren't talking about short-term analysis. We weren't talking about a day or two of price action. We were talking about months in advance. We were talking about the very long term, which I thought I made myself very clear on that, but I suppose not. Nevertheless, guys, in other news, the shorts following this movement did crash in a big way. As you can see, shorts were sitting up here around 11,000. And as a result of Bitcoin having that move to the upside, shorts crashed 25%. That crash in shorts may have had something to do with the rally. I'm not calling it a short squeeze, but it might have helped a little bit. And interestingly enough, guys, this is a topic for another video. For the first time in a long time, the longs are not only plateauing, they've actually trended to the downside just a little bit on Bitfinex's chart. Not significant, but this might develop into something. We'll think about that in the future. Nevertheless, guys, where does this leave us? Does this bounce actually mean anything? Is this bounce actually going to result in a new uptrend up to those levels that we were talking about and the end of this bear market cycle that we've been in for the last 6 months? Well, guys, like I said, there are bullish technicals right now. Not only did Bitcoin do everything that we just said, Bitcoin, one, set a double bottom in motion down here. That's a good thing. If Bitcoin is able to stay above there and not go back down to $6,500, that would be a very bullish thing. I'd like to see that happen. I'd like to see Bitcoin rally. I'd like to be done with this bear cycle. So I want to see first Bitcoin hold this double bottom territory down here. And also, guys, as I've shown you on the daily chart, Bitcoin is currently sitting in that golden pocket. As you can see, Bitcoin has come down and it's pretty much bounced right where that golden pocket was, just as it had before. This is the 65% level, and this is the 61% level. Bitcoin bouncing here is very valuable. I'd like to see Bitcoin hold that. We've talked about Fibonacci retracement and the golden pocket in other videos, so I won't give it too much attention now, but just know that we are at a critical level. I want Bitcoin to hold $6,500. Just because I want it to doesn't mean it's going to, though, of course. So here's my take on the matter, guys. This is what I think. Bitcoin has done exactly what it just did here before. It happened back here in October in a much bigger way after President Xi Jinping of China came out talking bullish about blockchain and China's potential adoption thereof. It happened back in November when Bitcoin fell down to critical VPVR support and we bounced 13% in 11 hours. And now it's happened again, guys. Bitcoin has come down, it's tested support. The bulls have said, hell no, we're not going that low again. They bought up the market and Bitcoin rallied. But the overarching theme of this video that I need you guys to remember is that short-term trends do not invalidate long-term trends. If those two types of trends go head-to-head, the long-term trend is always going to win. And guys, I don't mean to keep plugging CT2A, but that is also a video that we made over a year ago in the Academy, the convergence of short and long-term trends. And in that video, I talked about this. I said that when a short-term trend is in disagreement with a long-term trend, the long-term trend is probably going to win. And the reason for that, guys, is because it's stronger, quite frankly. So do I think Bitcoin is going to make anything out of this? Well, here is my conclusion. Bitcoin needs to get above the 20 daily exponential moving average. This is the moving average to beat. This is the level of resistance to get above right now. If Bitcoin can break this level, if we can rally and get above this, then short term, I will be bullish and I will expect a rally all the way up here to this downtrend where the 20 weekly exponential moving average is also sitting. If we can get above this moving average right here, then Bitcoin will probably move up here to around $8,200. In price terms, that means that if we break $7,300, we're probably heading to $8,200. And from there, that would be a critical decision point to see if Bitcoin can break bullish and start a new uptrend. But for now, guys, I am still bearish on Bitcoin until proven otherwise. If Bitcoin gets above this, you're going to hear a different tune from me. But for right now, guys, Bitcoin just made a lower low than its previous low, and we just made another lower high. I want to be bullish because Bitcoin moved 15% in one day. I want to be, guys. Believe me, I do. There is a part of me that wants to be preaching bullishness right now. But I also need to remember all of the technical factors, the long term, the short term, the fundamentals, everything that's going on in the market. It's important that you guys have a bird's eye perspective and you understand as much of the market as possible so you can make as well informed of a decision as possible. And until Bitcoin proves me wrong by doing some certain things, like making a higher high, making some higher lows compared to this one, and breaking this downtrend of resistance, I am not going to be bullish. That doesn't mean that I don't think we can go bullish though. So guys, keep that in mind. There is a potential that Bitcoin breaks up here, moves to the upside, gets above this. There are bullish reasons, and there are reasons to believe that Bitcoin could do this. It is not me saying that that's not going to happen. I want to make myself crystal clear. I'm not saying that Bitcoin can't do this. I'm not saying that Bitcoin won't do it. I'm just saying that until Bitcoin does break above those levels of resistance, I am bearish until proven bullish. The trend is your friend right up until it ends, and the trend has not ended yet. So there is my 2 cents on the matter. Let's go ahead and move briefly onto some news, guys, because this is really important. There's a reason why Bitcoin is so valuable, and one of the reasons why Bitcoin is so valuable is because of its stock-to-flow ratio. Stock-to-flow has to do with how much Bitcoin is in existence and how much Bitcoin is being created. Bitcoin's creation is deflationary. It's not inflationary. Less Bitcoin is being produced every 4 years after every halving. And there's only so much Bitcoin that can ever be created. And what that means is that Bitcoin is a deflationary currency. It's not an inflationary currency. Its price action and its valuation is gradually going to increase rather than do what the US dollar has done and lost 95% of its buying power over the last 100 years. And the reason the US dollar has done this and the reason that Bitcoin is so valuable is because of this right here. The US Federal Reserve to print $425 billion for New Year's, 3 times Bitcoin's market capitalization. There are entire countries, in fact, the overwhelming majority of countries on planet Earth that have a GDP lower than $425 billion. In fact, only about the top 10% of countries have a GDP over $425 billion. To give you perspective on that. That is an absurd amount of money. And that will have an impact on how much your US dollar is worth. Let's read here. The United States Central Bank will inject at least $425 billion of non-existent money into the economy by the middle of next month. In a statement released December 11th, the Federal Reserve confirmed it would ramp up so-called repurchase or repo operations on key dates over the New Year period. And I realize this story came out a few days ago, but I wanted to mention it because it just came across my desk, and it is very important, guys. While common, such moves involve conjuring vast new liquidity based on zero backing, essentially money printing without physically printing any money. What that means is that they're basically creating US dollars out of thin air. And as you guys know, when you inject more of a currency into an economy, that currency's valuation, that currency's buying power, it goes down because there's more dollars in the economy in this case. That causes inflation. I'm not going to get into all of the reasons why I think they're doing this. I think a lot of it is because the Fed realizes that a recession is probably coming and they're probably trying to postpone that. But the fact of the matter is, every dollar that is printed lowers the valuation of every other dollar because there's more of them in existence. It's the same thing I always talk about when I'm talking about the valuation of going to college. A bachelor's degree isn't worth what it used to be worth because everybody and their grandmother has a bachelor's degree. That's why 20 years ago, 40 years ago, a bachelor's degree was something valuable. It was something special. Something like 15% of the population had one. Now nearly half of the population has a bachelor's degree. So to get that same level of speciality, you have to have a PhD. I call that educational inflation. This is going to have adverse effects on the economy, as it always does, and nonsense like this coming out of the Federal Reserve and our central governments is exactly why the US dollar and why all other global currencies will probably one day be replaced by a hard-capped cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. So guys, I really do hope you got some good value out of that video. Tell me what you think in the comments section down below of the new intro. I am absolutely thrilled with it. This video is not sponsored, but nevertheless, huge shout out to Tactical Lion Designs for helping put all of the new channel art and the intro together. I am going to be doing a couple of revisions with them. I want to have like the last B and Jeb kind of blink on. But guys, I'm very happy with that. It looks very professional. Like I said, pretty soon we're going to be upgrading microphone and camera equipment here, so the channel is going to be even higher quality. I want to keep bringing you guys the highest quality content that I possibly can here on YouTube. And guys, because of that, I do quickly want to mention the sale running on CT2A. This is going to last through Christmas Day. It's a $40 off coupon code on a 34 video 10-hour academy teaching you everything from the very basics of cryptocurrency if you're newer to the space, all the way up through far more advanced concepts that you're going to need while you are trading this market. The reason we sell CT2A is not to go get rich and buy a mansion and show it off on Instagram. The reason that we sell CT2A and the reason that we sell the first cohort is to continue funding and supporting the creation of new quality content on this channel and continually upgrading our production value. That is why we sell these academies. That is why we sell that academy, because we have bills to pay and we want to continue doing these videos the way that we currently are able to. So guys, that's why it's down there, and it's a very high quality product. There's over 1,000 people. There's exactly 1,019 individuals in CT2A right now, and they're loving every minute of it, guys. If you'd like to learn more, you can shoot me an email at cryptojeb@gmail.com. You can join our free Discord server down below and talk to some of our students and see what they have to think, or you can leave a question or concern in the comment section down below, and I will try to get back to you as quickly as I possibly can. But guys, like I said, that sale is going to be running through December 25th, so if you want to give yourself a Christmas present, the link is down below. Very important that you guys have an education in cryptocurrency technical analysis if you're going to be working in this space, and we have over 1,000 students to back up the claim that this academy is worth every penny. But anyway, guys, that is pretty much going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did, consider hitting that like button down below. It really helps out the channel when you do that, and also consider subscribing. We're trying to get to 30,000 subs before the end of the year, and I would love to see you join us, so go ahead and do that. But anyway, guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. I do want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video.